What up, Dude, that was a good one today. It was right in the, it feels like I have to get it like in the right place in my throat for some reason. That's how I describe when I can do it good. But I'm very excited. So that helped that beautiful intro, Korky. Welcome, finally. We've been talking for a while to the Mikey G and Web3 podcast experience.
You, man. Thank
How
you
are
so
you
much.
feeling, brother?
Feeling good. I'm actually just pinging people on Discord to get them here. Let me do that right now,
Don't
and I'll
even
be right
worry.
back
We
with you.
already got people watching, brother.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
This is gonna steadily increase throughout time. But yeah, go ahead, ping people on
Yeah,
Discord.
it's done. I'm retweeting, and then I'm all yours.
Yeah, do all of those things
Yeah,
because I'm
doing
gonna
good,
do a
man.
little update about myself, anyways.
Awesome, perfect. Then yeah, thanks so much for having me, though.
Oh, dude, this is gonna be great. Little background that you all don't know: my co-founder Bubble Asaf is an
I
amazing
know
human
Bubble very
being.
well.
He had met Korky, and he was like, "Dude, you have to talk to Korky," and I did, and we've all been besties ever since. And he's just been insanely busy making hot sauce, building things that we finally got a chance to plan a date and link up. So I know this is going to be an amazing conversation. I already have a lot of context. I have more context about you than I typically do a guest. So this is going to be tons and tons of fun. About me, just cooking, man. Like I had this momentum in February, and then my account got hacked for over a month. I've been back for 3 weeks, and it is insane how much momentum I already picked up from the last time. So we've got multiple things going on. One, it's all good, man. Cough all you want.
Sorry.
It's totally good. Cough, like just cough it out hard. It's totally fine.
All good. Sorry, man.
It's all good, man. Top Unfiltered Minds, my besties Christian and Mojito, OG Hate Mods. We have created a weekly space. We had a break this week because of Token Dubai, or Dubai Token 2049, whatever the heck they call it. They were there. It was hard to link up, but we're bringing on interesting people in the space, and it's a little kind of what we do here, which is like just get unfiltered rants, learn a little bit about the people, way more condensed format. Next episode, we're going to bring a bunch of influential women in Web3. We're pretty excited about that. I was trying to get Kev on this week, but we just couldn't link up with the time frames, but we have lists for days. 2, I continue to talk to the abstract people. They're an amazing human beings, amazing group. Michael Lee has been on the podcast. Just had a chance to talk to Logan, absolute legend. We're going to continue to work together to try to find some awesome founders to bring on here, like Korky and so many more. And then, dude, I have 2 more things. I forgot about this. Working on an in real life podcast with some homies from LA. We found a spot that is basically a free place for creators owned by Skull Candy, which is a big microphone headphone brand here in the States. And so they have like this really cool space. So I'm going to try to start doing my first like monthly in real life podcast and helping Rebirth out. We're going to do some frog files, and we're going to start trying to highlight Plague Frog members. And yours truly, Mikey G, is going to help Rebirth do some really short format interviews to start doing this highlight. And we're collaborating with OG Triple Media, who B-Rock has already been on the podcast. Amazing set of human beings as well, too. That is the only time you're going to hear me talk about myself today. And that's it. And so
you've been busy, man. Love to see it.
Yeah, dude. We're cooking in a lot of different ways, and I'm really, really excited about the opportunity. I'm really excited about what you're doing because you are one of the few rare people that has actually built something tangible, but also continues to build. So, about Korky, my man. Obviously, he's the founder of ChainZoku, which really is concentrating on Web3 universe, blending gaming, anime, digital culture. He's been in fashion. We'll talk about that. We're celebrating the 2nd anniversary of the main collection, which is awesome. And you're utilizing abstract to promote this second chapter that goes across multiple verticals that we just talked about. And like you said, came from fashion, now building in Web3. And you're building something people actually want to play, actually want to be a part of, and really putting your heart and soul into that. And I appreciate it. One thing we forgot to do, and I'm going to put you on the spot, and if you have nothing, it is okay. Do not stress out. But the icebreaker question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything that pops in your mind? If not, something that people just don't know about Korky, have never heard before.
Well, it might be actually the opposite. I think I'm a very open book, and I share a lot. I hang out a lot on Discord. I have hundreds of thousands, literally, messages on Discord, and I share pretty much everything about my life with the community. So I don't think I have that much hidden stuff about me. Like, I'm covered in tattoos. I got like 50 tattoos all over.
Oh, there you go. That's it.
That could be a thing. I'm addicted to nicotine, which is a terrible habit. I'm trying to quit.
Well, look, you just ripped out two things. Yeah. That's perfect. Addicted to nicotine, which is, it is a thing. And we're going to Bubble and I are going to help you off that. We're going to help you off that together as the journey of our friendship. And then 2, 50 tattoos. Here's the question about the tattoos. Do you have a favorite?
Well, I don't know. Do you want the marketing answer or the real answer? I don't really have. The favorite is actually, no, I'm kidding.
I want the real answer.
I mean, of course, the favorite is always going to be the latest one for me. So it's the last one you did that's actually your favorite because it's the newest.
And what's that?
But actually, it's this guy. And actually, it has. I don't do. It's gone from. Wait. Oh shit!
Yeah,
it's mirrored.
It's
this little dinosaur from Tekken, the combat game.
Yes.
Gone. I should have like this. I have like Yoshimitsu from Tekken here, and I have like, and I have this guy from Mortal Kombat here. I have a lot of like fighters on my body.
What Mortal Kombat character?
Goro. It's Goro.
Yeah,
Goro from Mortal Kombat.
Dude, I remember playing Mortal Kombat on my Sega, man.
Yeah.
And it was a game that just blew my mind. By the way, there is a massive ass spider that just crawled up my wall.
Oh shit!
I'm gonna let that thing just chill there, and it's gonna.
I have one right there as well. Actually, I have one like right in the corner here, man.
See, this actually.
Bought her this morning, and she's just chilling now.
Yeah, it's just chilling there. I'm gonna let it chill there. It's totally cool. But that's super interesting to me because it actually makes sense that you're trying to go deep down in the gaming world. Again, we're already here, man. This is why we do what we do. I just learned so much about you just by this tiny little couple intro sentences, and we're going to get deep. So thank you for sharing that. I'm going to use this already as a break. We're rapidly approaching 100 people watching. Please, please, I need you to, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment on this tweet, and I'm going to link the Abstract stream. You all need to come over to Abstract. It's way easier to converse. We're going to have such an amazing, impactful conversation that you'll be able to interact, and I will just naturally weave in those conversations. This is your opportunity as we get to deeply know Korky to be interactive with that as well. It's one of the cool things. This is a podcast, and this will live forever. But this moment in time, we can be interactive. So take advantage of that. Retweet, like, come comment. I will put the Abstract stream up there right now. And with
are we already live on Abstract or not?
We are live on Abstract.
Okay,
I just have to comment my Abstract link, which I have not done yet, but I will do right now. And then we'll be rocking and rolling. So with that being said, Korky, we're here. We're in the beginning. And it is the world famous Mikey G and Web3 question.
The one and only.
And the one and only. And so the one and only question is this. How did you get to the seat you're sitting in today, my man? Please give me episode 1, 2, and 3. Again, to reiterate for the audience that has never heard this before or will listen to this later. Episode 1 is your childhood. Again, like I told you before we started, it was really vivid memories, parental figure mantras, things that stick with you to this day. Start there. Were you a tinkerer? Did you play sports? And we are going to start the beautiful conversation from there. Take about 20 minutes on that section. Then the next section is episode 2. We'll do a natural break. We're really starting to get into high school, college, professional career. But here remember the things that I am always interested in, honestly, throughout the whole podcast, but here in particularly too, is this is the time where you're failing and you're learning. And I
Mhm.
want those insights to share with the world because it's going to benefit them. But then it also gives us insights as to how what are these skills and failures that kind of help prep and mold you for the Web3 experience, right? And so
Mhm.
episode 3 is Web3. Really quick, how you found Web3, and then we're going to go deep into ChainZoku because you have a lot to talk about there too.
Yeah.
As you have been doing this for 2 years, you're evolving, you're utilizing abstract. I'm super excited about everything that you're doing, and that's it. So let's start with episode 1, man. Anywhere you want to start, and we will just have a beautiful, natural conversation. I cannot wait to hear where you
Awesome.
start.
Yeah, and I think that actually I said I was an open book before, but I don't think my childhood is something anybody knows about, actually yet.
Oh, I like
I
that.
mean, it's pretty. I mean, it's nothing out of the ordinary, I would say. But yeah, let me start from the very beginning then, I guess. I actually grew up in eastern France by the
Mhm.
Swiss border near. Yeah, basically it's an area where everybody works in Switzerland because the pay is much better over there.
Okay.
So I grew up over
Why
there.
is the pay better there? Just because it's more industrious, or?
Yeah, I mean the Swiss have a lot of money now, and since post World War II, they just ramped up their
Gotcha.
manufacturing, and the banking system will helped a lot, of course, as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, this it's Switzerland, like the pay is like 3 times what you get in France
Right.
for the same job. So everybody kind of lives at the border because you pay your tax in France, and you get to pay. Yeah, you get the.
And you got a cheaper cost of living.
Yeah, you get a cheaper cost. I couldn't find the word cost of living.
Yeah, no,
Sorry.
it's totally cool.
You get a cheaper cost of living on the other side of the border. So yeah, a lot of
Right.
people just like, and many of my childhood friends still live there and work there. In my area, it's mostly the clock and watchmaking manufacturers and industry.
Mhm.
Funny story of it actually is it was all the watchmakers were all French historically, but they were all Protestants, and they kicked the Protestants out of France, so they all moved to Switzerland. That's why because the Catholics didn't want the Protestants in France, so they all moved to Switzerland, and now that's like one of their biggest industries and exports in the world, and
Look,
just
you're just
because of
dropping
religious.
history knowledge on everybody. I didn't know that, and isn't
Yeah,
it really funny that, like, the reason why things are is because of situations like that, and if you
yeah,
get through the backstory. Yeah, thanks for sharing
super.
that. That's
Yeah,
super
it's
interesting.
it's fun fact of the day. But yeah, grew up an only child. My parents had me pretty young. I think my mom was 22 when she had me.
Mhm.
Um, pretty standard childhood. A lot of as far as sports go, big football fan. I mean, football, soccer for you guys, but yeah, a bit
Yeah.
football fan. I was like very big football nerd when in my younger years. Used to buy up all the magazines. Used to collect all the sticker cards and all these things. Was super obsessed with football for a while,
Right.
and then actually. In my teenage years, my obsession kind of moved towards gaming. Actually,
Mhm.
when we started to go to, I mean, nobody had internet at home back then, so
Right.
we went to internet cafes and played like LAN, local networks,
Yes.
local games, mostly Counter Strike back then. It was Counter Strike 1.5, 1.6, these older versions.
Right.
Was super hooked on this. Was super. Yeah, I played hours and hours, and you had to pay each time you played. So I spent so much money. I even remember stealing a $50 bill, €50 bill in my mom's wallet to go play, which was such a terrible thing to do.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're loving it, and well,
Yeah.
I wanna go back a little bit more, though,
Yeah. Go ahead.
because so you said kinda like high school thing of video games, um, it's always interesting to me because everyone's like, "Oh,
Hmm.
I had a boring childhood, like a typical childhood,"
It's never really
but
typical,
I
is it?
don't think it's never boring, right? And so, what did your parents, do for a living?
Oh
Because
yeah.
I'm interested in kind of what that looks like, and then once you describe that, kinda like mantras or even habits that you got from them, right? Because that always
Mm,
is just so impactful when you're at that
it
age.
actually is. Yeah.
So you're kind of seeping some of that, even if it's and then you're reflecting,
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
But even subconsciously, these things are happening, right? So talk to me a little bit about
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely. Well, my dad is and was a journalist. He actually works for the, how do you call that? The equivalent of the Lonely Planet for the French market.
Okay.
So basically, he's a travel guide. Basically, he just travels the world and writes it into a guide. It's called Le Guide de Routard. It's pretty famous in France and in Europe in general. It's like one of the biggest guidebooks over here.
Okay.
Big business. So yeah, he's been doing this for 30 years. He's the oldest journalist over there, and he just travels the world and tries out restaurants, hotels, museums, and just tells people where to go and where not to go, and gives advice to people on that, on all of that. So yeah, he's been going to Asia, South America, North America, Africa, all over Europe. So yeah, it was pretty. Yeah, he was traveling a lot when I was a kid. Obviously, he took me with him a few times as well.
Uh-huh.
And my mom has a fashion shop. Actually, she's same for like 35 years. She's had her. Is like the most famous and the most edgy and trend-setting fashion shop in the small city that I'm from. It's called Nouvelle Vague, and it's
Nice.
yeah, she's been doing this for 35 years. Yeah, that's also what got me into fashion. Obviously, I kind of grew up in it. We used to go to Paris a lot when we were kids. Paris is like 3.5 hours away from where I'm from, so we used to go there at least every month, because she would come and go on meetings and see new collections, new ready-to-wear collections every few months, and go buy some clothes directly from Paris and bring it back to her shop. Yeah, that's the parent side of things.
So thank you so much for sharing that, because you already just revealed a massive insight, which is your mom has been doing this fashion stuff for 35 years. So at a young age, when
And I am 35, so she started when I was born, basically.
perfect, right?
My grandparents actually were doing this before as well.
Okay, so this runs
Yeah.
really deep in the family, which is
Yeah.
like, that's a beautiful insight. And so this is what I'm really interested in, is you saw this business evolve. France, Paris, obviously one of the fashion capitals of the world. How was that impact? I'm assuming you were in the store a lot, and you were
yeah.
just you were seeing trends. So reflecting back at a young age, whether it be creativity or just different experience, how do you think that impacted you? What are the insights there? I'm interested in what it was like to grow up with a mom that had an influential, hot fashion
Yeah.
shop. Talk to
Yeah,
me a
she's
little bit about
actually
that.
even you could say she's actually an influential person, because yeah, it's like there's like 15K people in this city, so it's pretty small, and she's like at the heart of the city, and like one of the really one of the most central boutiques and shops in the city. And like funny anecdote, like she's so famous that some people, I mean at her level, that some people actually, some of her customers and stuff actually ask for like her haircut at the hairdressers, for example. Like
Wait.
she was like the
For
original
her
influencer.
hair?
Yeah, she's like, they're saying they want the same haircut as her. They want the
Oh,
same
I
hairstyle
thought
as
you were
her, so they
saying
go
they
to
were
the
going
hairdresser.
to the hairdresser and asking for
Oh
her
no, that
hair
would be
after a
really
haircut.
weird.
Yeah.
No, they're just asking for the same hairstyle as she has. She was like kind of the OG influencer,
Yeah.
in the locally speaking, which is pretty fun. And yeah, childhood when in the store was pretty fun, because yeah, the store is open all day, and you go out, you walk back from school. School is like 5 minutes away, and you hang out at the store, and you see them, you see how they interact with customers, and you see like people's buying habits, and how people that come back very often, and how to behave with as a salesperson and stuff. So yeah, it taught me a lot actually, because I worked like during my high school years, I worked as summer jobs in her second. She had up to 4 stores at some point. So during the summer month, I used to be in the stores and actually sell like lady shoes anyway. And it was very, it was very innate, it was very easy for me, because it just made sense. I had seen them doing it for the past 20 years, so it made sense.
See, and this is we're already getting to some really cool places. So you've seen your mom grow into such an influential figure that people are trying to replicate her haircut, because she is kind of an authority on look, fashion. So my question to you then is, reflecting, how do you think that evolved? Is it just hard work and persistency, or are there some skill sets and nuances? Because I'm really trends, and especially fashion trends, where your mom got to, that is kind of the face of this and evolving what people want to be. That's an insane skill set, or an insane thing to build. So reflect on that. Tell me a little bit about that. Tell me what you think she did to acquire such status, because that's a really fascinating topic.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think she's kind of a glowing person in general. You know, she has like this very. Sorry, my English is not the best today. Yeah, she's got this very attractive
Your English is
personality and very.
fantastic, by the way.
Yeah.
You're crushing it,
Okay. I'm
so
just
don't
losing
worry
a few
about it.
words. I'm just
No, no,
finding
no.
it hard to
Listen,
find some words
like
sometimes.
I said, man, just slow down. Take
Yeah.
like 10-second pauses if you need to. It's no big
Yeah.
deal, man. It's totally cool. You are crushing it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I just hate leaving silence and stuff. That's one of the things I need to work on. I need to speak like Obama does. You know how
I
he like
do.
leaves a lot of silences and stuff.
Just reflect the Mikey G pauses too. Like
Mhm.
this is actually not only are we going through a therapeutic experience, I'm learning a ton from you. You're gonna learn a ton from me. But feel free to slow down, man. Just take some pauses. Like I said, we got that lo-fi music in the background, brother, and you're crushing it. You sound. I didn't even, as an American, know that French is your first language. So you're already crushing it. Don't worry about it.
That's awesome. Yeah, been working on this. Yeah, just going back to my mom. I don't know. Honestly, it's just a very natural thing to her. She's like this very. It's like a magnet for people. Like people come to her, and every time someone moves into the city, because a lot of people move from other places in France into this city to work in Switzerland, as I mentioned earlier,
Right.
and they instantly that it's like the shop they go to first, and they come hang out here and they become friends. Like she makes a lot of new friends just from being this like central focus point of the city.
Yeah. So what I
Um,
hear is charisma, right?
yeah,
It's
charisma is the
almost
word. Yeah.
like it's interesting to me, and this is how I'm interpreting, and let me know if you have any more insights, is because she was such a people person, everyone has to start from zero, right? And so her natural charisma gave her a name for this, town.
Hmm.
And over time, she built that authority based on charisma. Maybe it wasn't that, but maybe it wasn't just that. Does that sound right? Is there something to expand? Because what I'm really interested is how does she get to that success? I mean, you were there. You saw it,
Hmm.
saw it evolve. Talk to me about this evolution part.
I mean, I think it's also the uniqueness of what she has to offer, like the fact that she has a good eye to select
Mhm.
clothing and fashion that you can't find anywhere else. And like at some point, she was the number one reseller in the top five resellers in like this tiny city of France. Number one, the top five resellers for this Italian jeans denim brand that was super successful back then. It was called Miss 60. And yeah,
Uh-huh.
she was like top five in the whole country, and they actually flew her to New York, all everything paid for her, to reward her for being like the best seller.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think she has a eye for good trends, and she knows her, because it's a small place again, so she knows the customer, she knows what every customer would want as well. Like she knows
Right.
them personally. Like when she buys something, she says like, I'm 90% sure that this woman is going to want this in this site, and she can order it in advance, and she's everything she gets is already pre-sold in her head. She knows exactly who she's going to sell it to. It's like a
Yeah.
very small community, and she knows them very well. So that this thing about knowing her community and her customer base as well, that's very important, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, the people just come in the store and just ask her, show me what you got. They don't even browse through the what's on the shelf and the racks. They just know that she already knows what they want.
Yeah. It's good they trust her. And
Yeah.
and and again, this beautiful insight has led to something super critical. Community is a big topic in the Web3 space, right?
Totally.
But I think a lot of times people interpret a community as like, oh, I'm vibing. We have good vibes, we have good, feelings. But it is exactly what you just said, is how can you as a founder deeply and intimately understand your community, start using literally, as weird as it sounds, is like those deep relationships and a data perspective too, to understand the makeup of your community, and then start understanding truly how to activate them. And the one point here though is your mom did it in a very small town, so it's easy. And then how does that work scaling up? But talk to me about that intimacy and the importance in your mind, or your take on community, because you have built one yourself. I would love your insights there.
Well, I mean, Discord is kind of a small town if you think about it, right? It's a Discord server with a few hundred people active that you see every day and you talk to every day, and you know where they're from, you know what they do as a job, and you've been connecting with them for. I mean, some people I've met in September of 22 on Discord. So it's been 3 years that they've been here. We've been talking every day pretty much,
Right.
and many of them I met them IRL as well. And
Yeah.
this connection that you built is pretty unique as well. Honestly, I don't
Yeah.
think you can find that a lot
And
anywhere else.
do you think Discord is that vehicle? Like it's the main vehicle to allow that to happen, or you've been using other things, IRL, or is it really the Discord that you think allowed this natural, organic, community-driven space?
But I mean, from my perspective, yes. I don't think everybody uses the same way. For me, Discord is a perfect platform for community building, and especially as a gamer. And back in the day, back in the day we used to use like IRC and TeamSpeak and these things back on World of Warcraft and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And I think it's the perfect place for community building. But you can't rely only on Discord to get people into your community, because that's a very closed circle.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to hook people on social media, on even IRL events, just like we did with the hot sauce event,
Yeah.
multiple hot sauce events that we did. You need to hook people wherever you can through all the different areas that are available to you. And
Right.
Discord is where you consolidate this community. For me, I
Yeah.
think that's the way.
One
I
thing
see
I've
things.
noticed about you and just interacting with your brand, even to the the pre-sale announcements, or I would tell somebody like, oh yeah, I know Korky, and we've been missing dates and I'm going to get him on the show. There's just this deep respect and knowledge, and a lot of people know you, right? I think we built similar brands in the sense of like, we never tried to be over the top. We just built it in a genuine way. So I know we're jumping ahead a little bit, but I'm really interested in your answer. For you, how do you think, we just talked about Discord, whether it be tactical of like what you did in Discord, how did you build that genuine community? What are the things you think about as you're building that over the years?
Well, yeah, what I'd like to say, when I said earlier as well, is that I'm pretty much an open book, and I try to be as genuine as possible. I share my struggles, I share my wins, we share the struggles, we share the wins, right? We win together, we struggle together, and I'm not trying to put a facade on top of me to try and be another person, which
Right.
sometimes I think is that I'm like, maybe I should try and be this like super chiller that's like super always ultra confident and everything, but that's just not who I am. Of course, we all have struggles, and we all have doubts, and sometimes we're super happy, sometimes we're a bit stressed out. It's just the way it is, and I just share everything basically. Just share everything publicly. I just don't try and be somebody else. I think I'm trying to be as genuine as possible, honestly. Sometimes, of course, I'm gonna refrain myself from saying a few things, because it's still a speculative market, so you don't want to show your like you don't want to seem too stressed out at times, even though you are, because you don't want people to be worried about their bags or whatever, because it's still a speculative market, right?
Right.
But I'm trying to be as genuine as possible, for sure.
Yeah. And I got that from the first day I talked to you, and I think here's the secret combo that I think people don't want to do, and I'd love your thoughts on this. To build deep, genuine things like you have, and like I have too, it reflects my brand, hence why we got along right away. It takes a long time. Like you said, you've been doing this for 3 years now. I've been doing this for 3.5 years. But the reward is that much better. What are your thoughts on that? Do you agree? Do you have anything else to layer on there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a never-ending process, honestly. Building your brand and building your community and building your network and building getting people to trust you as well, and to recognize you as a figure in this space, and in general, even as a founder figure. It's a never-ending process, and some weeks you do it better than others, and just trying our best out here, honestly. We're just working our asses off and trying our best to be on all fronts as well, be on the Discord front, be on the Twitter front, having different personalities on both sides, and trying to get people to understand what you're doing, share your vision as much as possible, and make friends as well, because at the end of the day, you also want to make friends and deep connections with people, right?
Right.
And that's also something I really want to focus on. And I think most people I've met in the space, you mentioned Bubble earlier, like I think we have a really good, very deep connection with Bubble and with you, and with a lot of and I've been building these connections a lot over the month and years with our community, but also outsiders from the space that I just genuinely enjoy talking to.
Dude, absolutely couldn't agree more. Let's talk about this though, because this is one massive thing that we didn't talk about.
Hmm.
Back to your mom and the very young age, right? You're thinking about she's creating these trends and she's just got this unique style and flavor, which really comes down to creativity too,
Hmm.
and lenses. You're obviously a
Absolutely, yeah.
really, really creative person. Not only are you building 3D models, you're building gaming, you were deep into fashion, and we'll get there too. From a young age, how do you describe creativity? And take me through your creativity journey, because I have a take on what creativity means to me and
Mm,
how you foster creativity, but I would love your personal journey around
mm.
creativity.
Oh, that's not an easy question.
Yeah,
Trying to think back, yeah, back to my childhood. I think because
take
I
your
was
time.
I was I was always very better at languages, literature, arts. Early in the day, I was terrible at math back then.
Yeah,
Math, physics, chemistry. I was always at the yeah, I was always the bottom row in these classes. Even though I did pretty good at business school and everything behind that, but yeah, I think I was always more attracted towards. I mean, yeah, maybe like exploring the world as well, learning about culture,
yeah.
through my dad, obviously learning. My dad was there. He was a big nerd, probably on the spectrum somehow. He doesn't know it, but yeah, he taught me a lot of things, and he was yeah. I always basically I think they taught me how to be curious and also be have a process in how you're being curious. I remember like this an anecdote that we had to for a school we had to analyze a news segment. We had to watch the news basically and write down how everything unfolds in the newscast.
Yeah.
And everybody in my class just went for the because you had these like 30 minute newscasts, and you had the 6 minute ones that were like very fast in the evening. And of course, everybody took the easy way and did the focus on the 6 minute ones. And my dad was like, no, that's not journalism. You need to focus on this proper newscast that's like 30, 45 minutes, the whole TV, yeah, I don't know what it's called, yeah, the news, basically, the evening news. And so, yeah, we tore it apart, and he helped me understand how everything works.
Right.
And yeah, when I came back, I got the best grade in the class back then because everybody took the easy route. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's kind of one of the things I got. It's like being curious, but doing it also properly, just like
Yeah.
deep diving into everything and trying to learn how everything works and understanding everything. And that's also just coming back to that, because that's something I was having trouble getting in fashion. Like I went to fashion through I went for fashion because I knew fashion was not easy for me, and it was an industry I knew all about, and I was good at it. So I went to the top school in fashion in Europe and probably the top 3 in the world.
What's that called?
And it's called French Institute for Fashion. It's backed by
Mhm.
like all the big names: Chanel, Hermes, LVMH, all these things. But it's I miss the tech part. Like I'm still I'm still a gamer. I'm still obsessed with tech. I've been like every time there's a new AI tool right now coming out, I look into it. I use it. I've always been really about tech, but I'm not. I don't have any technical background because I was bad at math, so I wasn't not oriented towards that through school. Was more oriented towards the creative side of things. And now I think, yeah, to wrap everything up, I think the creative side of me and the techie side of me are now colliding with this Web3 experience, and I think that's why it feels like it just makes sense to me to be doing this right now.
And seeing what we're doing here now, I mean, we're already over a half hour and we've just on episode 1, so we will start transitioning here. But you just dropped, and this comes up time and time again. What you just dropped was an atomic bomb in the sense of knowledge for people to understand.
Hmm.
Creativity is not being a good drawer or a good
I'm terrible at
painter,
drawing.
right? That is, like you said, look at the creative output this man is doing. He's a horrible drawer, right? I went to design school. I can't barely draw a stick figure. Creativity is about exploration. It is about trying to understand things deeply. It's about trying to understand how things work. Math is actually incredibly creative, especially when you get to the theoretical side of things. It's not about the subject, it's
Mhm.
about the possibilities. And you just
Absolutely, yeah.
described that in your own way. So thank you for sharing that, because that is such a critical message. I hate when people tell me, I'm not going to argue that the brain may be more skewed towards analytical than, bigger picture thinking. Like I'm sure the science is there or the arguments are there. All I'm saying is you have the opportunity to be creative if you just have an open mind and are explorative. Explorative. I don't even know.
Explorative? I don't know.
No, that's not explorative.
Explorative.
Maybe I'm just making up a new word. I don't even know. But what you did though is you talked to us about exploring, and then you talked about how you drove down deep. So thank you so much for sharing that, man. I'm going to give you one last chance to, you did say your dad was like almost on the spectrum and he taught you a bunch of different things. Before we move kind of on to episode 2, just mantras or lessons learned from either your mom or your dad that still stick with you today?
You actually mentioned that when we were talking before the stream, and I don't think I have an answer for that, honestly. It's kind of these questions that I don't really have an answer to, honestly. It's not something...
Totally cool.
It's hard, it's hard for me to pinpoint this. I think it's a lot of small things that just make sense all together, but like I don't have a big mantra to share, honestly. And I think because my parents are not like that at all either. They're not like big on lessons, and they just like, just made it up as they went away. As life happened, they just tried to be the best parents they could be, And they taught me a lot of things, even like, small things like I remember drinking alcohol way too young, and my mom explained to me that it's gonna be horrible for me, and I didn't drink for years after that. Just a lot of small life lessons that I had along the way, and I think as I said, like they got me very young, so they also learned along with me,
Yes.
So I don't think they were not this like big on lessons and teaching like very valuable mantras and stuff like this. I don't think that was their thing, so that's why I think it's hard for me to pinpoint this as well.
So that's totally cool, but you actually did share a lesson with us.
Yeah,
because what my ability is to click down on that, and what they did, which I think is one of the best ways to teach these life lessons, and which makes sense where you're trying to tinker with tech and fashion, is just learn by doing, right? Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's all what we're doing around here, right?
Yeah.
Especially in this crazy space where everything evolves super fast and so many tools coming out every year, every month, and
which is another critical lesson, because people always say they don't have a superpower, they don't know what to do. You just have to do. And you actually, even though your parents didn't come out, and this is a great point too, I don't think when people are reflecting back and trying to make sense of the world or make sense of why they are as a human being, because by the way, everybody should do that. Self-reflection is massive. And if you're not doing that, it's very hard in my mind to progress forward. But it doesn't have to be as black and white as like, my parents told me to do this. Now reflecting back, it's very clear that one of the lessons you learned was learn by doing, because that's what your parents were doing. And it's the same thing that happened to me, by the way. My mom was 19 when I was born.
Oh, straight crazy.
19 or 20, like, she's just turning 20. And I think about this, right? Like my mom was my age and I was already in college. And I'm thinking like, dude, when I was in college, still she had me. And I was just trying to understand life.
That's crazy.
And now you have a human being like your parents, right? And you're actually just trying to survive. Your life becomes a byproduct of that. And there's good and there's bad.
Because you have a kid as well, right?
I have a 19-month-old, yes.
Yeah, we're not too far. Yeah, they're not too far apart. Mine is 2.5 years old now, so
yeah. And so I have a way drastic different perspective of having a kid, because I was able to establish a career, get some money. I'm able to afford to take him to, Disneyland and do all these things. I wasn't going to Disneyland, man. You're just trying to put food on the table, right? So there's something that is naturally to be said for that. And it makes sense to me why you're a learner, a tinkerer, and a builder, for sure. So thank you for sharing all this. We're going to do a break right now. We're rapidly approaching 200 people watching now. And so Please,
Just
please, please.
before the break, just a quick thing. You didn't change the title of the stream on Abstract. People were mentioning that.
Oh, why didn't
It's still the previous. It's still the one with Exceed. Shout out to Exceed and Kazi, by the way. Big fan of these guys. But yeah, you didn't change it. No big deal.
There it is. I just forgot to press the update button.
Oh, okay.
It was updated, but I just didn't press the update button.
No problem at all.
Perfect. Thanks for the heads up there. Now the title is right on Abstract, and that's what I was gonna say. Please come on over to Abstract. I see all your comments on Twitter. Thank you, Fizzy. Thank you, Dan Legendary. Dan's getting even more bullish on all the stuff that you're sharing, man. So like I said, you're already making an impact. It probably seems to you, oh, this is just like very light topical stuff and it might be meaningless, but I already told you, you've already made an impact. We have a comment that you have made an impact already. So thank you for sharing everything that you have. We're going to transition to episode 2 here, people. This is another thing that you should be pretty excited. We're using this stream to give away the first 2 ever whitelist spots to Chapter 2 for ChainZoku. And how we do that here is you're going to have to understand the stream. You're going to have to understand Korky, like we're getting deep to know him now. In a couple hours from now, I'm going to ask a question on my Twitter. And the first 2 people to answer that question correctly, they get the whitelist spots. So thank you, Korky, for offering that up. And thank you for giving me the honor to be the first person to give those away.
Absolutely.
So like, retweet, comment, do all of those things. And we're going to move on to episode 2. So episode 2, I think a natural segue is, and then you can go everywhere this wants, is you're talking about you're getting into high school. You have this deep understanding of fashion. You're learning by seeing your parents do. Your mom's becoming a trendsetter because she's got an eye. You're understanding what creativity is, right? Your dad's making you travel the world. You're really getting all of this stimulation, and then you get deep into video games. Mm-hmm. And so take us from video games to school, and you talked about going to the French Institute, but you had this desire of tech. Mm-hmm. So let's evolve from there and then get into your professional career. Now, remember, when we talk about this, I'm really, really interested in some of the insights that you're starting to gain from your failures, from your life experiences. Mm-hmm. So let's have at it, man.
Awesome. Okay, so yes, I thought there was going to be something in between. I thought there was going to be a break. My bad.
Let's have at it. Let's have at it. So start with video games, right?
You're talking of course.
You're spending money in this cafe.
You mentioned high school and video games. That was the opposite of a match made in heaven. Obviously, it was horrible for my school years because I was. My 2 key games in my early years were Counter-Strike and World of Warcraft. So yeah, Counter-Strike I was very competitive. I joined quite a few big teams back then. That don't exist anymore, but they were like top tier teams. But in this small space that was Counter-Strike back then. I was playing a lot. I had some very good stats, which are not even. But you didn't have any leaderboards or anything back then. It was all kind of DIY back then. Counter-Strike was just an add-on to Half-Life, right? To the Half-Life game. And yeah, I was super deep into it. I used to spend all my money and my pocket money in internet cafes playing this, and then we got access to high-speed internet a few months later, and I got my first PC, and then I started playing in my room. And in my room, I started playing with the same people that were in the internet cafe, but remotely. And then I started to go on public servers, and I met a lot of people and started joining teams, etc. So it was super competitive. I was, I think I was pretty good. I actually played it again, over the weekend, just for a couple of hours, not even a couple of minutes even. And yeah, now the kids are much better than I am. I'm an old man and I don't have the same reflexes, but yeah. And Counter-Strike was such a good experience back then. And now I'm still watching the esports tournaments. I'm still watching Vitality. The French team is doing really good, and all the superstars, the Ukrainians, Russian teams, Swedish teams, all these guys are really good, and I love watching them play now. Just I'm more of a passive spectator right now in this space, and I've seen it also evolve a lot and being monetized a lot more. Because it was just very DIY back then, and now it's big business, like the Counter-Strike skins, and I like to mention this because it's also what made that clicked in my mind, and I'll go to World of Warcraft right after.
Yeah.
But it made me click. It's one of the reasons I thought NFTs made so much sense, because when I saw how much money there was involved and how much importance it had to have digital ownership of your assets in on these platforms. And then World of Warcraft was my 2 last years of high school. So I guess it's I don't know how it is in the US, but for us it was the last 2 years of high school. Kind of almost failed the high school because of this game, because I was playing up to 10 hours a day while going to school. I mean, I skipped a lot of school back then as well.
Yeah.
And it was super into. We were in the best guild on the server, all the first to get to the first to kill the main bosses like Ragnaros and this big dragon. I forgot the Onyxia, and it was vanilla world back in 2005 2006.
Yeah.
And actually another thing. So I played for a whole year, about like 120 days of played on one character in 1 year. So about 8 hours a day every day.
Wow.
On average. That was crazy. And at the end of that, so two things. So it was basically all these people were my best friends, all my guild members, and they were all older than me as well, because I was like 16 back then, and everybody was like in their 20s, 30s, and actually met them back again 10 years later, and they were all over 40 and with kids and stuff, which is pretty funny to see. Actually, so you had these battle.net forums that you could, when you stopped playing, you kind of, the tradition was to go there and post on the forum and say, I'm leaving, guys, I just need to get my life back in order.
Right.
And so I posted there, and I got like 40 pages worth of reply to people say, oh man, we're gonna miss you, and we're gonna miss the PvP, and you were a little bastard, always killing us and stuff like this. And I remember showing this to my mom, and she was like, whoa, that's crazy how many people know you and how many friends you've made on this platform. Because she was just worried about me saying, you know how parents can be with video games, like you're just wasting your time and you're not learning anything here. And the community part of it was completely amazing. And I still have I think these emotions that World of Warcraft brought me back then, I still try to replicate it somehow, with different things, because it's this thing in my stomach that I can feel that I've never felt ever again. In the past 15 years, there was this sense of community, progress, and doing something meaningful. It was really, really amazing. And I think it was because I was a bit younger as well, so it meant a lot more to me as well back then, and the emotions were all over the place. And the community side of things was amazing. And but there was also a financial side of things, because back then, after I quit, which was not really allowed, but I actually sold my account for a good amount of money. I think it was like almost $1,500 back then, which was huge back then, right? Because I had all the best gear. I had so much playtime that I had all the best gear, and the guilds were like chipping in together. All the guild members from other guilds were chipping in to get access to my character, because I had the best gear, and I was a valuable asset for them as well. Right. So of course, if you think about all of this, it'll just make so much sense now that I kind of move towards the NFT world down the line.
Yeah. See what we're doing here? See, this is all this reflection really starts bringing out these thoughts, and it makes sense. Listen, it's very rare that I get a founder on here that it wasn't some form of gamer in their past. Now, whether they're deep into, but the people that are more community driven, they all built guilds, right? Immediately Tyler from DSK DAO, right? He is deep into community. He was a Counter-Strike guy. He was World of Warcraft guy. He was leading the guilds, right? He was making money leading guilds. It all makes sense. My question is, you said this, and this was a beautiful thing that you said, was I've never felt that feeling again with this feeling in my gut, right? It just felt cool. And I think this is a massive leadership principle and just principle in life. Is how do you get back to that gut feeling? And my interpretation of why that happened at that time. One, like you said, obviously in your formative years, there's a lot of emotions and stuff going on. But to me, you had a collective group of people that had a clear mission and vision, which was to beat the big boss, right? And to do it and to share wealth and to help each other out to accomplish this goal. The mission and the vision, and kind of the other beautiful thing that happens in these circumstances too is you start creating these team norms, right?
Mhm.
And as simple as the team norm of don't be a dick, right? And look out for each other. And these start all trickling down. But if you actually look at leadership and how to form groups and be super effective, it's all of these things that happen naturally in a guild without you saying it. Any thoughts there? I see a lot of head shakes.
Mm.
Anything to layer on there?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, I mean, it was like a war room. Like, it was the organization that was needed to get to these bosses, and actually, you need to organize the healers, the damage dealers, the tanks. It was, and you need to to the second, you need to be very precise and very organized and place yourself at the very, like a centimeter. Like some places you really need to be placed exactly in the right spot for it to work, and it was 40 people at the same time, all online with a bit of lag as well because the internet was not the same back then. And it was crazy, man. Was the amount of organizing and team leading that you need and leadership that you needed back then. It was super crazy, and I actually learned a lot from these guild masters back then. And I took higher roles in the guild and the organization. Never was a guild master because I was still a 16-year-old, and they were like 30-plus-year-old guys.
Right.
Didn't really want to give me the whole leadership position, but yeah, man, it was so impressive, and I actually watched a video yesterday about that. About the raids and like how to be a good raid leader and how to not, because now they have this hardcore mode in World of Warcraft, and if you die, it's all over. So to get to level 60 and gear yourself up, you already need like 10 whole days of playing.
Right.
And if you die, you have to start all over again. And so these guys, they accidentally pulled the boss into the room, and he managed to organize everything through an immense amount of stress. He still managed to get everybody in order and not get anyone killed, and still managed not to wipe out the whole raid. While most people would have just said, like, let's just give up and flee, And it's super impressive. I really, and it brought me back to these days as well. When I watched this video, I was like, I got this gut feeling that I was mentioning earlier,
Yeah, dude, that's so cool. And so there's anything from this experience that you try to apply to your current community to try to reinvigorate that gut feeling? Is there anything you can share there?
Absolutely. A lot of what we're doing is inspired by my days in World of Warcraft. Like, from all the NFTs are dynamic. You can customize them. You can go on quests, and even down to the rarity of the items. Like, we kept the same color scheme. Like, common is yellow, common is green, rare is blue, epic is purple, and basically all these things are very buried inside of me, and I just I think I'm trying to replicate this feeling a lot through what we're doing with ChainZoku at our very own level as well, of course.
Right.
But this feeling of community, and we actually did start working on like a guild feature, a guild module where people can create teams and stuff. But the community was too small to do it at that point. But it is something that we really are willing to do down the line again, small teams or guilds, etc. Because the whole lore. I mean, even the lore, right? Our project is two clans fighting each other. Onizoku, Bosozoku. What's World of Warcraft about? Horde and Alliance fighting each other. So the inspiration is all there, man. It's very buried inside of me a lot, and a lot of what we do is inspired by this, for sure.
So explain that to me, because I'm not like anime Japanese like lore. So Bosu, Oni, how do you describe those in your own ecosystem?
Yeah, well, Onizoku is so they're like Japanese demons. They have these horns. They're inspired by traditional Japanese lore and storytelling from these demons that you see in vintage to the paintings and stuff like this. And they're all about staying true to their nature and spiritualism, staying true to the earth. The kind of hippies, basically. We call them the hippies of ChainZoku, and they're opposing these guys. They've been fighting for centuries with these guys from the Bosozoku clan, who are literally the opposite. They're all about progress and hyper capitalism and just basically very different visions of the world, which are kind of a parallel with what we see in the world right now. You have a lot of people who are more about protecting the earth, and the other people who are more about conquering Mars. It's kind of, and everybody is kind of living in this gray area, and I think that's why it talks to a lot of people as well, these kind of stories.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I think makes sense with everything that you've gone through, is you're trying to also then ground it in the real world, because I think there's this balance, right? And what you were talking about, and why parents get scared about this, right? Is because you're learning actually all these real life tangible skill sets, but you also can then just get lost in the not real. And so, like, how do you balance that? I don't know what the answer is, but you can easily go and far too extreme and think that this is the only thing in your life, which is, God forbid, what it's going to be like. There's whole new mental disorders that will come about because of AI, and when we get to true virtual reality, where you can't you can't discern the difference between the two, which is coming. And that's a beautiful insight. So let's move into the kind of professional career. Anything that you want to touch on school? And again, as you go through this over the next, let's say, 10 minutes or so, lessons, insights gained that kind of helped you prep for Web3, and then we'll go into Web3. We got about a half hour left, and we'll use that last 20 minutes to talk, really dive deep into Web3 and ChainZoku.
Yeah, sounds great. So as far as I mean, let's start with the high school, right? I mean, I finished high school. My high school years, I was so you have like three in France. You can pick three different things. You have economics, literature, or math, basically. And I went to I did economics myself. That was my specialty, and English as well. Like you could double down on English as a language. Which I was pretty good at, and basically, but I was like very involved in video games and stuff like this, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life after high school, which is, I think, a lot of young kids, and it happens to a lot of kids, and you're still 17, 18 years old, and you don't really, it's super hard to pave a whole path for the rest of your life, right? So what I did is, I mean, a friend of mine, I mean, another kid that was like 3 years older than me, she told me that if you do these studies, it was like, it's basically English and Italian studies with a hint of like economics and communication. It's kind of a weird degree at university, and and she told me, if you do that, you'll be able to you have a guaranteed a year abroad basically. So I just went there for the year abroad, which was a very good decision, because I studied in England for 2 years after that. I actually did one more year at this university in Leicester, East Midlands, in the of England, and that's actually, these years were more formative, and actually taught me a lot of English, and allowed me to meet a lot of people as well, because there were so many exchange students from South Korea, Japan, Saudi Arabia, Malaysia. I had a Malaysian girlfriend back then, so I discovered a whole different culture as well. Singapore, China. So I met India as well, a lot of Indian and Pakistani people, and managed to mingle with so many different cultures over there. A lot of partying, obviously, not too much studying and too much partying, but it is what it is. We were still young back then, and that's where I figured. That's where I started looking into fashion. They actually had a fashion degree over there in a uni in Manchester, I think, and I was like, but I mean, France is still the country for fashion, right? So I started looking into schools, into fashion schools, and I integrated the one that I mentioned earlier, because it's called the French Institute for Fashion. And they only took in like 10% of applicants. So I guess they were pretty convinced by what I showed them and my profile. And graduated from there back in 2013, I think. So it was the management side of things. It was the business school for fashion, basically. So it was very focused on fashion and luxury and design, but it was not a fashion design course. It was more how to work with designers, which resonates still with me today, because that's what I'm doing. I'm not a designer myself, but I work with creatives and tech so you work with this. So basically, I was taught how to be the link between designers and creative vision and the supply chain and marketing, and basically be the guy in the middle of everything, which is to this day still what I'm doing with ChainZoku, actually. So studied fashion, then graduated, did a few internships. I did an internship in a influencer communication agency focused on fashion and beauty products. Then I did an internship that turned into a job for an LVMH brand, so one of the big luxury brands. And then I actually got a job into a startup, a menswear startup that was doing quite well at the time, and that was some of the most formative years I had, because I learned I learned to be autonomous because it was a small team of 5 people. So basically, I was dropped there, and they were like, "Well, we don't know how to do your job, so you got to do it for us. I mean, we have nothing to teach you. Basically, you're supposed to know everything, so figure it out."
Yeah.
And so I had to figure out how to do like technical spec sheets for clothing, design actual clothing, how to balance out a collection for multiple, like they had 10 stores in France and abroad back then. So how to balance out a collection, how to do this, how to process data to know what to order for the next season. Just how to be autonomous. And then I had 3 or 4 people under me back there after a few months, and learned a lot from there. Basically how to be autonomous and handle how to handle speaking to probably 20 different people a week, so many different people, and we had suppliers in Portugal, in China, in Turkey, and in each of these locations we had multiple suppliers, and then you had to talk to the DHLs and the UPSs, and basically a lot of problem solving and a lot of working in emergency mode constantly, because you always have shit to deal with supply chain, and finding solution and stuff like this. And after that, I started my own brand, actually, my own fashion brand. I actually started 2 fashion brands at the same time. I found one was more streetwear oriented. It did pretty well. It was profitable. It was with 2 friends. We ran it for 3 years, but then we kind of fell apart, and we didn't really want to work together anymore. Shit happens. And the other one was more like a very eco-friendly brand, kind of streetwear inspired as well, unisex, eco-friendly brand. And on this one, I was actually partnered with like the wife of very famous, like one of the biggest French actors. So she had a lot of money and she had a big vision, and she hired me to help her out. But she didn't do her side of the job. Basically, she was supposed to handle like VIPs and placing the garments on famous people, because she had this huge book of network of famous people, and she was basically supposed to handle communications and marketing, while I was supposed to handle production and design. And she never did her part, so it kind of fell apart as well back then. And what led me to, right before ChainZoku, I was after that I had a year kind of looking for jobs and doing other things. Not a year, actually, no, 3 or 4 months. And my friend, who's my co-founder now, Furo, his brother is the biggest, he's basically the biggest French YouTuber in the French-speaking market, and he launched his own brand called Yoko, and they were looking for like director of collections, someone who would do exactly what I know what to do, and so they hired me. I joined them back in 2020, I think, right before COVID. Basically, they hired me and COVID hit, and the lockdown hit 2 months after. So we were kind of stuck. We couldn't get any products, couldn't get anything done for at least 3 or 4 months. But we still managed to survive. And it was a really cool experience, because we focused on so it was cool because the community was huge, because this guy has like 18 million subscribers on YouTube. So huge community and a huge budget for ads and stuff, and it was really fun because every collection we did was a capsule collection, and every capsule collection had a different theme. It was all Japanese inspired, very Japanese inspired, and each collection had a theme and came with its own video content. So we made a proper anime for one of the collection, and all the anime was on the clothing. We did some fake Japanese ads. We did one around hot sauce. Actually, the hot sauce came from here as well. We did a whole collection around chilies, and we made our own hot sauce, which is how I met my partners for the hot sauce business as well. And and then 2020 we started working on Yoko, and then that's also when we started getting into crypto. And that's
so
how I embodied. I'm gonna stop here, right?
I mean,
that was a lot.
No, that was amazing. And because, I mean, dude, we could talk for hours just based off what you said. So I have the tough job right now of picking, let's say, 2 things that you said that I think are really interesting to talk about. And so there's 2 things in my mind. You talked about failed founder relationships. So I'm interested in that. We can go down that for a couple minutes. But before that, there's something to be said about both facets of what you described and what I heard, which is picking one skill set and getting insanely good at it, or what you went to school for and what you started doing in the startup, and understanding that there's actually, and especially in the creative world, because this was like a really aha moment for me. I went to design school and I thought I had to be the best designer in the world because that's what they taught you in design school. But there's a massive need for an in-between, for somebody that understands that what creative is, and then translating that into the business world. And that's where I thrived as well. Like, and my manifestation of that was managing brand for Geico, which was a huge corporate entity that spent over $2 billion in advertising. I worked with the creatives. We brought that to life, but then I also dealt with the business aspect of it, right? Talk to me about what you think the benefits are of what you learned and how critically important this kind of in-between is, and any insights or skill sets that you think are critical to that role, because I think it's way more important than people lead it on to be.
Well, I think it's understanding what being creative means, and like understanding how creative minds work as well, because they don't work the same way as you do most of the time. They have their ups and downs. Sometimes they can't be creative for a whole week, so you need to also learn to follow the rhythm. And I think it's being very, it goes back to the childhood thing I was saying earlier. It's being very curious and trying to understand how everything works. This way it works also with the devs. It's not only the creatives, like working with devs and engineers. It's very important to know the basics of the tech if you want to be able to communicate with them and actually know what to tell them and create the product that you want in the end. Because they're not UI designers, they're not designers. They're very technical people. So you need to bridge the gap between the UI designers, the devs, and as far as creatives go, you need to understand also. It's also about being able to tell them no, that won't work as well. Like, you need to have an understanding of the market, basically, which is super important in fashion and in ChainZoku. What my job is more of doing the market research and telling the creatives, this is going to work, this is not going to work, people are going to like this, people are not going to like this. Because creatives are often in their own bubble, and they really want to do their thing, what is true to their heart, and you also need to be the person that tells them, no, that's actually really cool, I love what you're doing, love the vision, but there's no market for this, and I think that's very important in fashion and in building a collection and in the NFT world as well, because the market is ever evolving. So you always have to have your finger on the pulse, or pulse on the market, or something. I don't know exactly how you say that, but
yeah, no, and amazing insight, man. And and through my experience and my perspective, I'd love to hear yours. I'd actually challenge everybody that, like, they've had challenging relationships in corporate America or even in life. One of the most challenging relationships that I ever had was managing a group of creatives, especially in a corporate environment where, you're supposed to show up at 9 a.m. every day, when we were still back in the office, and they would just stroll in at 11, like that sane mood. Like, there is a persona to a creative person, and like a lot of it is driven by thought and emotion and how they're feeling, and that does just not vibe with the stringent, more strict corporate world. That was probably one of the toughest challenges I ever had, is to manage a group like that. Any insights there? You agree? I see the head shake. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah, because as I said, some guys, I mean, even my co-founder, sometimes he needs like a whole 2 weeks to get back on his feet and actually be back in creative mode, and you are the front-facing part of the community and the project, and you need to be able to handle that as well, and understand both things, and come up with solutions. Because one of the key things we want is to keep the community always entertained, and sometimes, well, there is no content ready because the artist is not feeling it, and so you just got to deal with that. So it's being a problem solver, and but also not pushing them too much, because if you push them too much, some creatives just can't build under pressure. There's a lot of them that just can't do it. They need their downtime to be able to reflect and gather some more inspiration. I don't know, head out to go to some museums and whatever. And it works in fashion as well. Like, a lot of fashion designers are, they disappear for 2-3 weeks and they come back with the best ideas, and you just be able to accept that. But then on the other side, you have the marketing guys, the supply chain guys. Everybody's waiting for the prototypes and everything, and it's also a lot of emergencies to deal with. But Yeah, very challenging, I gotta say. Yeah, definitely.
So many good insights, man. And my last thing to say about this is that it also gave me the insight that a lot of times I think people think they can get to a one size fits all methodology with leadership or maintaining people, and it is just not the case.
Yeah.
There is as much as you can, what you've been doing for your community and what I try to do too, as much as you can. And I know it's impossible, especially once you start scaling, but how do you get to a one-to-one conversation? How can you create a personal touch to your communication style, to how you're leading, and to how you cultivate greatness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so many people say, this is black and white. If you don't follow this principle, you're not going to succeed. And that is just not how life works, right? It's a bunch of grays.
And we just learn as we go. Yeah, we just learn as we go along as well. We learn by doing. Again, we come back to this one, but yeah, like for example, the whole team, we all working remotely, so it definitely creates some challenges for like team building and cohesion and everything. So yeah, you just put some things in place you put some regular meetings and try to interact with everybody and make sure everybody can follow what everybody else is doing, so they have a sense of progress. And there is methodology for this as well. I'm not saying we're doing it perfectly. We're trying our best.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no one size fits all. That's for sure. I mean, Sailfaster, our game dev, he's a night owl, so you know you're gonna get some cool updates at 6 a.m. and that's when he goes to sleep, and then he will be back at 1 a.m. or 2 p.m.
Right.
And yeah, and one of our 3D artists is in Canada, and you need to deal with all the different time zones and everything. But yeah, you just learn as we go along, and of course you listen. You need to listen, like listen to people very much and their feedback, because everybody has a lot of emotions, and it's still. I think it's still a very emotional business, being a creative and building things with a community that's behind you, and you care about this community, and you want to build something that makes them happy, but also build something that makes you money. And it's a stressful environment, and it's a very great environment to be in. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with this, but yeah, I agree with you. No, there is no black or white. That's for sure. We all live in the gray area, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And no, you did exactly what I was looking for, and you have been doing it this whole time. Is you've been getting your take on these insights and principles. And what we're getting at with this conversation really is, I don't think people realize how complex it can be and is to operate in the creative and the business world. You have the hardest job as being the front-facing person, managing all of these different personalities and still putting this high-end output out, which you have done. And it's just a monumental task. And I think the thing that you can pull from this, and the hundreds of people that are watching right now, they need to realize that cut Korky some slack, man. This guy is being a magician in the background, and he's working with people around the world that have different personalities, that take time to get outputs. You guys want the best output possible. Again, it's this age-old principle. It takes time. It just takes time. And speaking of time, believe it or not, we've almost been going for an hour and 20 minutes, my man.
Yeah, time flies, man.
We have yet to talk about ChainZoku. I have like 15 other questions about the middle part of your life. We're going to be making more video content in the future. I know we will. Totally. So I'm not going to ask my next question. I want to get into ChainZoku. I want to do you service of you being able to talk about your Web3 project, what you're doing, because what we've already done here is beautiful. I understand your background from fashion at a young age, and then you just talked about startups and how do you manage the business and the creative aspect, and you even did creative yourself, went down that rabbit hole, but understood that being in between probably makes sense for you because you're able to do the tech and the fashion and all of the things that you have done. And this is what people need to understand that are in Web3. You need to find the Korkys in Web3. Why do you need to find the Korkys in Web3? Because this man has dedicated his entire life to understanding the skill sets to progress his brand forward. His company is not an NFT. His company is a hot sauce company. It's a fashion company. It's a gaming company. But all of that experience that he went through is relevant to what he's trying to build. There are so many people in this space that say, I have gobs of money and I'm going to create something just because I'm a business person, but have no relevant experience. Now, listen, I'm not arguing that people don't have gobs of money and can find the right people to do it. But I think the special stuff happens when the person at the helm has the passion about what they're doing and they have the understanding of the industry they're trying to progress in. And you have that. So I just wanted to reiterate that's why we do this, is because you have now proven to me and the audience that you do have the skill sets, that you're passionate about this. And that's why ChainZoku is still around 2.5 years later. And you're about to come out with the next season, which is a beautiful segue into the fact that you're using seasons, which is also a term in fashion. And one of the things I think people have underutilized in the Web3 NFT space is you have this gamification aspect that you can apply. And seasons couldn't be a better way to do it. There's a reason why video games have adopted this format, because it keeps things interesting. Because if you don't have something new coming, or you don't have some new, unique, and novel idea, it's very hard to keep people interested, especially in this space. So thank you for sharing everything, man.
Thank you.
We are rapidly approaching 300 viewers now. So please, please like, retweet, comment, come on over to Abstract. Dan, you keep on dropping how much you're loving this and what insights are. Let's get you over to Abstract, trap it a little more. On Abstract, what you can do is you can comment, and I'll interweave these questions into ChainZoku. We're giving 2 whitelist spots away. First whitelist spots for ChainZoku Season 2 ever that have existed, happening right here. We're going to ask a question after the podcast about Korky's beautiful background, and it's going to be a nuanced question. So you're going to have to have understood, engaged with this content, so maybe acquire that. And the first 2 people that answer will get that whitelist spot. So let's have at it, man.
Awesome,
let's talk about ChainZoku. Web3. You talked about finding crypto. Real short there on like how you found crypto, why you decided to build ChainZoku, and then let's talk about what you're doing here now and what the future looks like.
Well, yeah, I mean, kind of just going back to what you were saying earlier, it's true that it all makes sense. Like if you look, it's good that we did this deep dive into my life, because actually everything I've been doing kind of led to this. If you think about it now, the fashion, the gaming, the tech, and also like digital ownership, and even like we started working with a lot of AI and AI agents and AI NPCs and stuff like this. So everything that I love doing, I can actually do it with this project, which is just so amazing. But yeah, just started to talking about crypto. Actually, my first introduction to crypto and Bitcoin was in very early days through World of Warcraft. Actually, one of my friends, who's now a multi-millionaire, he was my best friend in World of Warcraft, actually talked to me about Bitcoin in very early days, like 2010, 2011, I think. And that was my first introduction to it, actually. Of course, didn't jump on the boat, sadly. But I jumped on the boat a bit later, like many did, to buy some stuff off Silk Road, not for investment purposes, which is, so we're not going to go too deep into that. But yeah, it happened to a lot of people, I think, that blew a lot of money on recreational stuff on Silk Road back then. And my really informative, my entry into crypto was 2020, right after COVID crash. I don't remember exactly how I got in, but I saw these really crazy low prices, and I was like, yeah, there's an opportunity here. So I pulled some money out of my savings, Ethereum back then, and it went back up really fast, and got super excited. Of course, I started taking some trading lessons, actually, with like a French alpha group they're still out there. They're really good. I became like the best. I became like elite student overall on Discord, and I haven't paid any subscription for the past 2 years because I'm still like at this elite role for some reason, even though I'm not very active there anymore. And then I kind of onboarded the whole team from the fashion brand into crypto as well, because
Nice.
I mean, it was easy back then. All the prices were going up back in 2021. So I onboarded everybody else, and that's when NFTs came up. they started coming up, and we saw so many cool projects and people going crazy over these digital collectibles, and we really saw the potential here, because again, what I've been saying for the past hour, it just all made sense through our experience through gaming, fashion, etc. And so we started working on developing the ChainZoku idea while at the same time as developing the fashion brand. But our vision was really to not do what everyone was doing, because a lot of people were just surfing on the hype and over promising and under delivering. So everybody was saying, yeah, we're gonna have a metaverse, we're gonna have an MMORPG, and they actually had not even an art piece ready. And it still worked back then, but yeah, our thinking was, let's raise some funds first, work for a whole year in advance, produce as much content as possible, and produce the coolest collection and experience as possible, and then release it. So that's why we created this whole manga that we have. That's like interactive storytelling. We had 250 pages worth of manga and storytelling ready at launch. We had over 600 assets, and now we have double that, 3D assets that you can use on your characters and collect and use to upgrade your characters. The hot sauce came a bit later, actually. It came a couple of months after the mint, but it was already prepared because the NFTs actually had them in their hands, so people knew hot sauce was coming. Basically just the goal was to keep people entertained as soon as the project was released, which was something nobody was doing back then. Everybody was taking 3 months to reveal. People were leaving the boat instantly because there was nothing happening. And we really absolutely wanted to avoid that. So we built for a whole year in advance and actually came out with everything ready. And we kept adding things over and over again for the past 2 years now, including like the questing module. We created over 200 quests where you can get different rewards, tokens, everything. We added over 600 assets over the past year. We added companions. We added a bunch of things for our first year anniversary, because we didn't mint out completely back in 2023. So we airdropped the other half of the supply for our first year anniversary.
Wow.
And now we've been working in the background for month and month on this chapter 2, which is going to be launching on Abstract. It's going to be a new collection, and also multiple games and immersive experiences as well, and a completely revamped experience on what we like to call the RPG side of things. So the RPG side is where you build your character, you can level it up, you can gain some XP, you can basically craft your own identity. And now we are actually introducing the mini game side of things as well. We're making them both work together. So we have, I like to say, it's like Final Fantasy or World of Warcraft meets Mario Party. So that's kind of our vision for what we're launching on Abstract. Very easy, short gameplay loops, really addictive games that you can play every day with different rewards, and that are playable for everybody, with, of course, extra better rewards for NFT holders. And the RPG side of things, which is the token-gated digital ownership side of things, where you can craft your own characters and make them evolve through the story that we're telling. And we're telling a crazy story with this chapter 2. Actually, a lot is going to happen. Again, I like to say it's all based on lore and world building. It all comes down to world building. We build the world first. We build the playground. That's what we like to say. And now we're just playing in it, and everything comes down to it as a funnel.
Dude, amazing amount of insight, and there couldn't be more perfect time to pop this up. And I popped this up earlier, it probably confused you, but I want to read this because these are the types of comments that are coming through. Korky is the most passionate founder in Web3, no lie. 200,000 Discord messages plus in 3 years. You work nonstop. You have the experience, the skill set. Super kind human being. Ain't nobody more deserving to succeed. This could not be more poignant on everything that we've been talking about. And we still have
You're making me blush now. Making me blush. That's it.
But we still have about 10 minutes left, and we've got already over now 300 people watching. You guys got to share this stuff. You got to retweet. You got to like. You got to comment. You got to do all of these things.
Do it.
Because it's exactly why we're here. And I am firmly convinced, and I am going to help you as much as possible to help you sell out season 2, because this is how beautiful things happen. Beautiful things happen with the knowledge, the deep passion, and the skill set over a long period of time. It has been the number 1 insight from the hundreds of founders that I've talked to. This is always at the top, by far, by the way. Consistent work combined with passion over a long period of time. That is the key to success, hands down. Any other thoughts with that other than just agreeing?
No, I mean, yeah, I've been saying it as well myself on Twitter and everything. Consistency is key, man. That's and even like because I was saying, one thing I noticed is like NFT Paris, right? It's a big thing for us because that's where we're from, and we held events a year apart. We had an event in 2024 and an event in 2025, and the massive difference we had in the amount of people that turned out and already knew about us, and the event was packed and oversubscribed by hundreds, and it just made me realize that the hard work you put in all the networking and being out there and being consistent, it actually pays off a lot. And now, yeah, I've been doing like up to 10 one-on-one calls with different people in the space, other founders, other creators, and they all have heard about us. They know our name, which is good, but they don't know what you're doing yet. And so I've been taking the time, like 30 minutes at a time, each time with each person since December, January. So it's been 6 months I've been doing this to show them what we're actually doing. And the conversion has been great. Like people like Joe, some people are even apologizing for not looking into it because they're like, it's this that I've never seen. Many people have said, I don't want to be hyperbolic, but many people have said I've never seen this amount of work and dedication, and the product that you have is absolutely unique in the space. And I'm not disagreeing. I think we're the only ones doing what we do. And yeah, some people actually even apologize, like, yeah, I'm going to buy one right now because you guys deserve some more recognition.
Yeah.
And it's happened. It keeps happening every time I do. Yeah. Every other call, it turns out into a new community member. So that's pretty cool.
Dude, it's incredible. Have you talked to the executive team at Abstract?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah. We're an official ecosystem partner.
All right, perfect.
Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure that
happened. Yeah, of course.
Because
I've been talking to Mason since January, so it's been 5 months since we linked up.
Because I was like, if not, we're making that happen for sure.
No, that's one of the reasons we're launching with Abstract is the team and the fact that they support projects officially on their platform.
And you have it all.
Yeah.
You have gamification, you have the NFT side, you have real world assets. Like you have literally everything wrapped into your brand. And again, I want to ask you this. What do you think because I said passion combined with consistent work over a long period of time. What does long period of time mean to you? Minimum long period of time in your mind.
Minimum. Depends what outcome you want. But for me, it's at least, I don't know. It depends. Yeah, it depends what the outcome.
Not a small outcome. Building a legacy, building something meaningful.
It's a complicated question because I think some people do it faster than others as well.
But there's no right or wrong answer.
There's no right or wrong. Yeah, I mean, for me, I think if I kept at this rate, I think at least a couple of years is good to build. But because I think back then a year we started like not even marketing, but being out there for the first collection, probably 7 months before we released, and I still feel like it wasn't enough to build a community actually. Right. Now I think the 2 years have passed. I think the community is the strongest it's ever been, and it keeps growing. And yeah, I was listening to Leona Booth's interview with the founder of Good Vibes Club, and he was saying like the hardest thing to do is the cold start, right? It's building a community from scratch, and that's one of our strengths is that we already have this community and people are super supportive. Like, so they're saying all these nice things to me, but like I can turn it right back to them because these people have been. You were saying like cut him some slack earlier, but they have been cutting me some slack. Like they've been the nicest group of people ever in the past couple of years. We don't have anybody like when we'll have these kind of people anymore. People know that we work our asses off, and we're never giving up, and there's always something new coming.
Right.
So we've kind of managed to build this kind of trust through transparency and through being here for 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the cut him some slack is more just general Web3 founders in general that are actually building like you, because this is the only, and I don't understand this because people get all upset. And I'm like, guys, this is the only industry in the world where you can hop into a Discord and literally text your founder. Like, and that brings a whole nother level of pressure for you. And then I think unfiltered access for the community that doesn't respect the power of what they have. And especially obviously for your legacy holders that have been around for years and help you grow, they're obviously cutting you slack. But the newer people, because I do feel like this next moment in time for you could be monumental shift for you, especially on the abstract train, giving you the visibility that you need. And people are going to be like, holy shit, this guy is the real deal. And that is going to bring a lot of new people into the ecosystem. That's going to be a massive challenge for you, right? Like, how do you handle the people that have been here supporting for years, and now this new influx of people coming in because you're a shiny object and they want to make money off you, right? That's going to be hard, man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
that's what that's what
we've
the
been talking about
Slack thing was a little bit more. Listen, man, we're at an hour and a half, and I know we've been going long. We're gonna have to do this multiple other times. I would love to like make some monthly videos and figure out how to do some updates in an authentic way.
Love that, man.
And so, but we got to start winding down. And I think I have 2 questions. I'm very interested in this. Why hot sauce?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I was like, why haven't we spoken about hot sauce bit yet?
Yeah, why hot sauce?
That's a good thing to wrap things up. Well, why is kind of my first thing is like, I mean, I think it also comes down to my the food culture as well. That's also something that comes from my parents. If we go back in time, because my dad has been trying out restaurants for a living for the past 30 years. So I'm a huge food fan. I'm a huge foodie for sure, and part of like it's ChainZoku is very inspired by Japan, and my co-founders are more into the anime side of things, and my favorite thing about Japan is actually the food. So yeah, I'm a big foodie myself, and we were as I mentioned, it started off as I had the idea of this collection around chilies, and I reached out to my friend, he's in the alcohol business and food business, and I told him, well, would you be interested in making a hot sauce for us? And the hot sauce was a hit and we were also, my friend and I, we were also really big into hot sauce. Like, our fridges are full of hot sauce. I have like 100 different sauces in my fridge. I'm a huge fan. I put hot sauce everywhere. Right. And we felt like we could do our own thing and do something different. Basically, we saw the potential with what happened with like craft beers. Craft beers became huge over 10, 15 years. Yeah. And we were kind of seeing this happening with hot sauce. And so the first thing we did is create a hot sauce for a fashion brand, and then we created our own brand basically after that. And then we stepped up our game because we have our own lab, we have our own we grow the chilies ourselves. They're all organic, they're grown in our own fields. We have over 2,000 chili plants growing right now. We just put the seeds in the ground again, and then of course, like, since I was also working on ChainZoku at the same time, like, I mean, this it could be a match made in heaven, because you can create a whole story around the hot sauce in the ChainZoku lore, and you can gamify the process even more and make the hot sauce experience even cooler, because now you can buy the goal. I mean, my vision has been, I mean, we actually had this vision with the like energy drinks first, but then since we were really I mean, we eat hot sauce all the time. We don't drink Red Bull all the time, and we think there's more soul to a hot sauce and more variety in the recipes and the stuff you can do with the hot sauce than in the drink. But yeah, the vision has always been for us, like, strike a deal with a big distributor, like Walmart or whatever. I'm just gave a random name. Of course, we're not there yet, but people go. Basically, you go out, or you go downstairs, you go to the grocery store, you grab the hot sauce, you scan it, and you can play a game, and you get taken to an immersive experience with the hot sauce. And every time you want to refill your hot sauce, refill your in-game power-ups, your mana potions, health potions, everything, you actually go and buy it in the store. And I think I love this experience of, I've always, since the very beginning of Web3, and even with the artifacts and stuff, RIP artifact, but like this bridge between physical and digital, I think it's super interesting.
Yeah.
And it's something that we've really wanted to focus on since the very first days, and now it's finally coming together, because and there's the community side of it as well.
Yeah.
We really want to use and leverage the community to get the sources out there, because the community is all over the world. You have people in California, in Denmark, in Ireland, England, Netherlands, all over Asia as well. And like, I can't myself go to all these places to introduce the hot sauce myself, but these people can be our best ambassadors and actually get these sauces in the hands of other businesses and restaurants, bars, manga shops, video game stores, whatever. And of course, if they manage to strike deals, they can get a share of the revenue, which is cool as well. And last but not least is I forgot the last thing I wanted to say. I lost my train of thought. Yeah.
It's totally cool because you just gave us a ton of information. And again, I'm just going to reiterate this. Everything you worked on leads up and culminates to this moment in time, which allows
It really does, man.
Dude, like a typical NFT project has one facet of the 15 things that you just said, right? You're talking about real world assets. You're talking about augmented reality interaction. You're talking about gaming. You're talking about lore and story that actually makes sense. You're talking about, here it is, people. This is one of the biggest alphas of the whole podcast, which is, how do you effectively activate your community for the bigger business overarching strategy, which is spread hot sauce in your local community. It's a functional thing that restaurants want. The dude's a foodie. I'm a foodie. You now have cultivated a network of foodies across the world. Guess how you distribute a product effectively? That. And guess how you do it in an authentic and genuine way? What Korky is doing. So it's just a beautiful way with that explanation to wrap up this entire conversation, which was incredibly short. Like I told you, we could go for another 6 hours, my friend.
Yeah, most likely.
Easily, right? And I cannot wait to continue to create content. So I actually ask one last question of every guest. It's very softball. Don't worry about that. But before that, I want to give you the opportunity, let's say next 3 to 6 months, anything that you can share to the audience and somebody that will listen to this in the future of what they can expect from you and ChainZoku.
They can expect, and chapter 2 is basically, it's going to be a new story, so they can explain the whole of Todai City is where everything happens in our world. It's the city where everything happened, and Todai City is gonna be turned upside down. The clan dynamic is gonna change. It's gonna be very interesting on the story side, and we're focusing a lot on the gaming side. So you expect very cool immersive experience, like around survival and around basically where you can actually control your character and control a character in a 3D world and actually walk around and do stuff. We'll be releasing a public experience in the next 2-3 weeks if we are on time, so that people basically the goal. I'm just giving the alpha. We are working on a 3D experience where basically the goal is for you to experience what ChainZoku is in 5-10 minutes. Basically, you can know everything about ChainZoku in this gamified experience directly with a super immersive way that follows up with a big trailer that we're launching as well. It's all story based. It all follows the storyline, and so that's going to be the first thing. And you can play multiple demos of the games that we're working on directly in this experience as well. It's going to be amazing. I think it's going to have a huge wow effect, because I've been demoing it to multiple people on one-on-one calls, and the wow effect is really there. So I think people are really going to enjoy this, and then we're building a lot of environments, different maps, and it's just so much coming. Honestly, there's so much coming. It's going to be much more immersive, much more, and we're focusing a lot on retention and actually making sure people want to come back every day. So I think the end thing I want to say is that we don't want to build NFTs that sit in your wallet and do nothing. What we want to do is an NFT that you live with and craft and upgrade over time and craft your own identity around. And we're adding a lot towards that with chapter 2.
Yeah, I love it, man. Alpha alert as well. So I'm going to ask you the final question, then I'm going to give you my final comments, and we're going to call it a day. Final question, ask every guest. You've been in hundreds of spaces. You've either talked or listened, if not thousands. You've been in Discord chats. I don't know. Is this your first podcast?
Actual, I did one with Bossa the other day, which was a similar format actually.
Okay. So
So maybe the
second
second if in
podcast.
podcast term, yeah.
I would love to hear how you rate the Mikey G experience compared to other things you've experienced in Web3. Hit me.
Well, honestly, I thought I was gonna be. I was a bit worried that we're gonna deep dive too much on my personal life, and I think I actually loved it. And I think I find I think it's the first time I managed to talk about things that I've never talked about before, which is pretty unique, because I've been pitching the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
And I love to actually have been able to talk about other things, and I really love how you can always find a way to use what I said to as a segue to other things and actually reflect on things I said. And I mean, I've told you that before, like we've talked before
Yeah.
on outside of the podcast, and I always appreciate your insight and yeah, you know what what to pick in what people say that actually and to amplify it. And I think it's very, very much very cool, and I really love it. I think you say things better than I do sometimes. I say something, I'm rambling a bit, and you just keep the essence of what I said and actually turn it into something super cool.
Thanks,
So that's what I
man.
really love, man.
And that is exactly what I'm trying to deliver. And the fact that you felt that means the world to me. And I think that's a great way to wrap it up in the sense of like going into my comments, which is, you said a couple of times that you were rambling on, but what I don't think, and what you really need to realize is when you talked like that, were some of the most beautiful moments of the podcast because it was your true authentic self, but there was so much gold in there. And that is my job. Like you said, I like a lot of times when you went and just like gave these deep explanations, there was at least 25 things that we could have talked about. Actually, it was very difficult for me. It was actually really hard for me in real time to pick the ones that I wanted to talk about because I wanted to talk about so many. But everyone that we did talk about, once we dug a little bit deeper, you gave beautiful insights. Here are some of the things that I learned. You're a beautiful human being.
Thank you, man.
You're intentional.
Right back at you, man.
Thanks, man. And you learned through doing, which I think is a really, really important lesson that people need to understand. There's such this like, and I don't know why, but there is this notion out there that people are magically good at things. That's just not how life works. Life works by doing and understanding what you're good at and what you're not good at, and then continuing to hone the things that you're good at. And by the way, never stopping. If you find something you're good at, you better keep on finding more things that you're good at, right?
Absolutely, man.
And the other thing that I heard, which is I really think important, is passion. And you did this through an interesting way of going to fashion school and kind of getting on the creative side, and then ended up going to school for being the in-between. But then you never let the true passion of gaming but manifest in a different way of tech. I think a lot of people are like, I love gaming, that's what I want to do. But your manifestation of gaming was implementing the things you learned about being a guild, leadership, community, and you were able to find these similarities and tangents in Web3 to activate your true self and your passions. And that is where special things happen.
And you know what? I think I didn't expect to be ready to do this. I didn't expect to be a leader and a front-facing founder.
Yeah.
3 years ago, you would have asked me that. I would have never expected to be on a podcast live with hundreds of people or thousands of people. Like I was, and even like I think also in Europe and how they teach you things. They don't teach you to be the main character ever, and it takes even double the effort. I think in America you have a bit of a more front-facing, forward mentality there, and we don't really have that in Europe. And I think it took a lot of effort. Honestly, the first spaces were a mess. It was super hard, and I'm super happy with about the journey, and I want to keep improving, obviously. But I would have never thought 3 years ago that I would be in this position right now, and I'm super happy to be here right now, obviously.
Absolutely, man, and I think that's a great way to like kind of cap it off, which is Korky is the type of person that you want leading a project because he genuinely, authentically cares and he wants to listen to you. But He's open to failing and learning and growing.
Obviously.
If you combine that with hard work over time and passion, you've got a recipe for success. And we've exemplified that over your story. And by the way, actually something that meant a lot to me, that what you said was you were a little nervous about getting super deep. And it's, you know, people don't understand that when I'm like, because I do say, like, listen, I don't need your deepest, darkest secrets, but I get deep in the sense that, and maybe this is a learning lesson for me. When I say deep, I mean just exactly what we did, which is you, let's say, riffed a couple minutes on your life. And then I took that information, distilled it down, and it just went a couple clicks down to say, like, well, what does that mean, right? What does that mean to you? And how do we distill this into meaningful, impactful information to the audience?
That's definitely your talent right here, man. Yeah. I do not know yet. Maybe I'll know to do that one day, but right now you're really, really good at this. So
thank you. And by the way, I didn't even know what I was doing when I started, right? We're close. Yeah. We're 3.5 years. By the end of this year, we'll be 4 years in for me doing that.
That's like 20 years in Web3, right?
Right. And it's simple principles that you hear all the time. And I just had to do it through me learning, which is deeply listen. And that means when you are riffing and giving me this information, I in real time thinking, okay, what are you truly saying? How do I distill that down and continue to have a meaningful conversation? That's hard, man. It's not easy. And we've done that beautifully today. But I'll tell you what, I couldn't have done my job without you sharing the information like you did. So thank you for that. And the final thing I'll say, man, you're a founder. You're insanely busy. You gave me so much time. But like I said, remember before we went on the air, we lit a digital campfire. We continued that friendship. And look how much deeper it is now after the 1.5 hours.
Absolutely, man.
You know, and we're just
I loved every minute of it, man. It's awesome.
Thanks, man. We're going to continue learn and grow from this. And you're going to see Mikey G and Korky continue to collaborate and create content. I can't wait to jump into the Discord later on today. Can't wait to see both of you there. I'm gonna end this with probably some of the most important things you can do for Korky and I, which is it's a follow button, people. It's literally a click of a button. We have almost 400 people watching now.
Yep.
We all could be 400 people bigger to expand the message of genuinity, building right, doing the things right in the space. This is what this space needs. Give ChainZoku, give Korky, and give myself a follow, whether you're on Abstract, Twitter, or even my Spotify. And we love you all. And thank you so much for sharing this 1 hour and 45 minutes with us. And we will be back to continue to spread the love, the joy, and doing it the right way in Web3. Mikey G and Korky are out.
Thank you so much.